coming to join us today. Really important how-to that we're going to get into. I won't take too much of Alan's time. We've got a lot of information to cover. One of the great things that we've talked on in a few LECTORA lives I've been on is just really the flexibility of LECTORA and being able to build anything from a basic e-learning to something that's scrollable, that feels more like a web page, and something that's really it looks quite advanced, but really you can do it straight out of the box with what LECTORA has to offer. So going in that attitude and trying to make things that are a little bit more cutting edge looking, or even just a little bit more user friendly. That's what we've asked Alan to come and show us what he's got cooking for us with a nice scrolling course template that he's been working on. So without further ado, take it away, sir. You're on mute, sir.
Sorry, thank you guys. Thank you, Trey, for the introduction. So I'm really excited to show you this showpiece we've been working on. This is a scrolling course, developing LECTORA online. We have, in the past, we have developed courses for scrolling courses for LECTORA desktop, and we were somehow enabled to translate these into LECTORA online. So now we're taking a different route, and we're starting this off from a LECTORA online program. Then we're going to turn this into LD, because these are different between LD and LO when it comes to scrolling courses that will show you later. And for instance, if you go to our library, you will see some vertical scrolling templates that work great in LD, but these don't work on LO. So as I just mentioned, we're starting off with a LO project, and then we're gonna turn this into an LD template. And speaking about templates, this new template we have worked on is let me just quickly show you this template we already have. And this scrolling course is a wireframe, right? What does this mean? Is that this is based on a course. This is based off on a course starter, right? This is a completed course starter. You can run it. You can change all of the elements. You can reskin it with your own, with your own colors, your own branding, and it's it's in a wireframe form. This means you can add your own content to it, as you can see right now. So sorry for the size of my screen. And so we noticed that, we wanted to show how to create this piece, but in no time, how to make this easier for the user just to start adding elements into this. And we encountered some challenges on how to make these templates. So let me show you. I want to explain a little bit about these challenges, but I want you to take a look at the whole thing. What kind of interaction we had in this one-to-many scenario. So all of the interactions of templates that from our library are inside this wireframe course starter. And so we wanted to turn it into a different format, the vertical scrolling course in LO. So we know that you've been asking guys a lot of on new content on LO exclusively. Okay, so I'll show you. This is important that you guys see the way the tests work, because I'm going to I'm going to tell you a little bit of extra information on how this test was done on this single page, right? Let me just run this really quick. If you think this is, I'm going to quickly, let me know, but I just wanted to show you the whole thing. Okay, so this is the whole piece, and cool. So yeah, as I mentioned, I wanted to talk about the wireframe, why it was built as a wireframe. The plan, the next step for this is to turn it into a fully themed course starter for you guys you can use. But let's start. We just wanted to start with the skeleton, with the structure that you can play with. You can talk with. You can add your own content in it before adding extra graphics or extra design elements into it. So how do we start this project? So when I was first assigned to this project, I told Troy, okay, we already have scrolling templates. Okay, so but we have them in LD. We need to make sure this works also in Elo to make it available for everyone, right? So make it accessible for everyone. So that's why we decided to start this in Elo. And so this is a long course, and when that you can go like, I don't know, I don't want to say infinite in endless. You can end up with an endless a scenario, stage size in LD or LO, but we just wanted to have like the total height of the course. And why? Because our templates are usually developed on this size, in this size 662 by 1009. So that's what we wanted to. Sorry, we decided to make this total the total height of this. And it consists of a total of 11 templates. So I'm going to show you why it's important to know this information. So we need to came up with a layer or a structure that fit all of our layouts, content layouts, and also our 4 interaction layers are always put into our course starters. And also it needed to have a quiz or a test in it with a results page. This was one of the trickiest parts of this. I'm going to show you in a bit why. And so if we want to use this, as a base for other projects in the future, this is how it might, turn up looking with your own graphics on your design elements into it. Just wanted to show you this sample here. And also another topic we wanted to highlight is the importance to have a background in this one. So as you can see, this is just a dark background for all the information in here. And why it was important for us not to have another extra elements in the background, so it wasn't confusing for us while we were developing this. We needed to have we don't need it to have extra elements that distract us from the main goal of this, was to create a whole structure, top to bottom structure. So we decided that we're going to teach design elements or design background elements, and instead using background reference that in a way they serve as a differentiator between one interaction. Yeah.
A marker.
A marker, between one section and the other one. And that's why we came up with reference backgrounds in here. So this way was a little bit better to develop, of rearrange or accommodate, or place all of our elements into the respective places. So let me I want to show a little bit of the. Sorry. Okay. Cool. So as you can see, we use different colors just to differentiate, to tell them apart, to tell one section apart from the other one. And so, and in the end, this reference background group is hidden. It's gonna show when you publish this, and instead we have our whole course starter background here. So we have just one big background. Here you can see the size, current size. Yeah, it's the measurements that I already told you here. Okay, so that's what we needed, the reference background. And what also is important, what's important to us is to come up with a naming convention for all of the assets we're going to add, or we added in here. And why is this important? It's not also good practice to nail down the naming convention of things, but we ended up with a lot of extra elements or on-group elements that needed to be nested inside groups, because this way we're not going to end up with thousands or hundreds of elements outside. And the naming convention part of it, it's that everything needs to be really referencing the corresponding group or section. So it will be easier for us to reassign action, to create new actions, to also to, you know, to put elements that are an element next to each other that belong together. It is way easier to have them named properly. So if you're going to start working on a vertical template, you know, have in mind that you will end up with hundreds of elements that are not inside groups, and you need to nest them into groups. So you can see all of the items here are named accordingly to the group where they're inside. And I don't know, and I know that after, you know, when we were working on this, we didn't want to, you know, to leave elements out of groups. So I was a little concerned that we have, you know, issues with the test, and in the end, the test was not at all, you know, we didn't have big issues grouping everything for the group. So we, you know that the test questions, they also act as groups. So this is the only thing we couldn't add into a group because it's already a group. It's a test question that's already, you know, functions as a group. So yeah, so it's good practice. Long essential courses will help you identify quickly each element from the respective group. And that's what is important. So also, yeah, second part of it, what is important to group everything. So navigation. Okay, we decided to use expand buttons, you know, to show the content. So we, you know, you can go two ways with this, and let me show you, because we have a full course here without buttons, and you can show all of the information at once. You know, you can do this, and it's going to work. And also, you can have hidden elements that are going to show on click to reveal like this, and you're already seeing all of the information. But we also wanted to have it like using these expand buttons, because we wanted to give the user the chance to stay on one single interaction or content layout, and don't be, you know, distracted by the information, you know, below. So this way you can go back up and see all the information that you have seen before. But at the same time, if you wanted to, you know, go further, you just click the you know, the plus button, expand button. And this is also due to the way that you create or develop scroll templates in LO, right? Because there's a couple of actions that change from LO to LD, and this is the scroll to, right? So the scroll to works a little bit different in LD, and I'm gonna tell you the difference in a minute. So this is why we decided to use these buttons, and also decided to just, you know, show everything at once. And what else we have? So, yeah, so talking about actions. Of course, inside of these, we have a lot of action because all of the interaction has, you know, actions in it. But the scroll actions is just one single action, which is the go to X page, or, you know, any page. On this case, is current page because it's the same, and scroll to, right, to X element. It is important that this scroll to action works only on individual elements, not grouped. For instance, and let me show you here. Let me show how my expand button have this action. It's important. If you decide to going this route, for instance, this is my 4-column layout group. So this is all grouped together. We don't have any other group related to the 4-column, and it's already hidden, right? So we need to show first the target, which is a 4-column, but the go-to action of it with the scroll to needs to target a element, no a group, because if you target a group, it's not going to work. So it is also really important to know, I think, to know that you can show the whole group, it doesn't matter, but it needs to target just the individual element, in this case, the objective title. That's why the naming convention bit is important, right? Because now I know that I'm talking about objective. It's not a pick and respond title. It's not a vertical flip card title. So I know where to go. I know, since it's in alphabetical order, I need where to go, right? So naming convention is important, grouping is important, and also what type of action we're using. Let me open LECTORA 21 here. So, and in LD, we have an extra action, which is on show scroll to, right? Or on short page scroll to. This action is missing in LO for now, but this is why it's different. This is why we needed to come up with a working version in LO and then turn this into LL, because this makes the difference really to how can we create a scrolling course in LD and then a scrolling course in LO. And just me add a button here. Let me show you here at properties. Yeah, we have the scroll into view and scroll out of view. These actions are not available in LO now. I said now, and this is why we came up, using this sort of navigation system for this LO specific template. And okay, main action. So test and completion.
Alan, with
yeah.
A little question from the Q&A.
Yes.
Jenny asked, if the student closes a course and returns, I know that there's an option to return to the last page viewed, but will LECTORA return the student to a particular place in the scrolling page?
It will actually go to the top of the page, and this is something I'm going to explain because right now, because it is related to the test. So let me go to my test section. Or yeah, let me hide this backgrounds. So one funny thing here is when you send when you sorry, let me try this again so you can see what I'm talking about. I need to hide my layers here. Oops. Let's just show question one. Okay. Okay, so it's also really important to start this project. Like, one of the first things you need to do when you create a scrolling template with a test is we need to start this as a test chapter. And let me go back to the top. As you can see, this is a test chapter. So inside a test chapter, you have a page. This way you can have your own question here, and it will, every question work, and at the end it will send we will process this test, but this is where the tricky part comes. And the way that LECTORA sends completion, it's by jumping to a different page, to any pages, the result pages, right? So we couldn't have the result pages outside of our crawling template, because this would, break the illusion, or break the illusion of this being just a single course. So we needed to have the test result page inside the single vertical template. So what we did was a little bit of workaround. We did send completion on this, but completion was sent, or the process test was sent was set in this, on this very same page. This is something you can do in LECTORA Online. You can send the let me try to find where is it. Yeah, the process test survey action targets the very, the current chapter, the current test chapter, which is vertical scrolling course starter, but this is gonna jump, right? So we wanted to have this action at the very end of our result page or group. The way we do it normally, we're not using this type of courses, is to have our last question, and when you get the feedback, you get your continue button, and this is where you send when you process your question, and then it takes you, or it jumps to a result slide or result page, something we don't have here, because the result page is inside this page. So what we did, we made this jump, right? And this jump takes you to the very top, part of this template. So that's why we added here another group, which is called exit. So the user can now, decide if they want to retake the course, or they just want to exit the course. So this is really something important to note, to have this as a process question at the very end. But this also causes another issue, is that this was not reporting properly. By the end, we didn't get the results we needed. It was the scoring was not working because we had the process survey at the very end. So what we did is that every time that you score, if you have a correct question, a correct answer, sorry, we will modify the scrolling variable, and we decided to add custom value to it. So in the end, if this is 100% based, of course, we're going to add, if we just have 5 questions, we're going to assign a 20 points score to this. And let me show you the if condition here. So if question 1 is correct, then add the 20 score points to it. So this way, every time you answer a question right, you will still get your points, and this will report in the end once you have assigned this process test survey action to the very last test pass group. So this is something that we wanted to really to show you, right? So to make this work on this single page, you need to come up with some customized solutions, a little bit of workaround, but it's not that complex. So we wanted something that we want to highlight here, that creating these scrolling course, although it was a little bit of, it had a little of complexity to it, having a lot of elements inside the one single page, and also we having to deal with a custom test. In the end, it was not that difficult. It was not that difficult to create. We just needed to come up with creative way to put everything, to place everything in the proper place, and the test part, how to solve the test part, which took us a while to figure it out, but it was not something that didn't take much to fix it, to resolve. And this is working. If you love these 2 elements, this will report, the score will report. This is also XAPI enabled, so it's working. So that's why we decided at some point that we needed to start this off in LO, right? So now we have a working vertical scrolling template, you want to call it that way, working exclusively in LO. I'm going to also want work on the LD version really soon. And I want to talk a little bit about the challenges, not only not only show you Well, basically, the challenges were just explain how to place everything in the right for location. The RCPUs also were a little bit tricky because, of course, since this is just a vertical template, we didn't use the landscape views on this, so it would make sense, right, to have these views enabled, but it also represented a few challenges because we needed to also place everything and change the design of everything to fit a tablet or a phone device view, which also, I mean, it's a little bit of work, but didn't, but it's not it's not extra complication. It's just sometimes we're gonna spend reordering everything just to make it look good on your phone or your tablet, which it does. If you try this or you upload this to do LMS or reviewing, you will see how this works on your phones, work great, and how this work on your tablet, and all the interactions, work, because these are also the same interactions we have on our library, on our asset library. And speaking about that, I will also wanna note that some interactions were modified a bit, right? Because we had elements that were inside groups, elements that were just living outside groups, and we needed also to have them in groups. So it represented also a little bit of rethinking how to make all of this action work. And it's also one of the things that I really love about LECTORA is the way we can have groups specifically for actions. So that's how we reroute in a way or reassign this action into group of action groups. For instance, this sort of group is just a high content, action group of actions. So this is something that we did. We had to reimagine a bit the way we arrange our actions or elements in the project explorer just for this. But I mean, this is something that's positive because it made us realize that we can have like, imagine that you have work on any interaction you want or any course starter, and you think, okay, if I have an element or a content element or image element outside my group, it won't work or it won't load whatever I want this element to do. No, it will, even if it's inside a group. So you would end up with a lot of groups, a lot of or a really long project explorer, product with elements. You just need to come up with a different way to organize everything into groups, which is something I also want to highlight about this, the importance of grouping. I mean, of course, we can't have everything grouped or nested in. Okay, we can't, but we can have at least this alternative when we have a ton of elements outside the project explorer. Something I really want to highlight because it took us some time to develop this big course starter, to be honest. But something that positive that came out of it was how it turned out. How this ended up looking. So I was really happy when I saw all of these elements inside groups. Okay, this works. And as you can see, if you play with this, you can talk with this. Gonna send you this. You can use this for sure, and you will see how this works even if it's grouped. So yeah, so we have to reimagine the way we work with our old template just to make this work for this specific template. So yeah, so maybe in the future we'll want to start making this template a little bit more close to the word they're here in the Project Explorer, just to have a different way to just import them from as library objects, and just import them into your projects. It doesn't matter if this is a vertical project or just a regular normal project. The fact that you can use library objects that are already grouped, and then when you insert them or drag them into your page, you won't end up having a lot of elements outside or elements wrote just out of order, right? So this is something that we learn throughout this process of creating this working vertical template in LO. So yeah, it's I know it looks a little bit not much design to it, like it's just a little bit plain, it's just, but the fact that this is so easy to edit, the fact that this is too easy to change, the fact that this will be easy for you to just add your own graphic or your own elements, your own colors to it, because it's already in place. So you have to deal with all of the work that we did while creating this template. So it's already, it's ready for you to use. I just want to highlight some features. It's already responsive. You don't have to deal with that. XAPI enabled. It has 5 content layouts for interactive template you've seen, and of course in the future we're gonna put different different interactions into this vertical template, because this is not going to be the first or the only LO vertical template we want to work on more. But we wanted to have a reference in LO before launching new LD vertical scrolling templates. So if you guys have any question on how was this done, please send them in the chat. Really, this might seem a little too much, but it is not, and it just works. And as I mentioned, you already know this sort of interaction, but the fact that you already have them available in LO or in a vertical template, it will make your life easier. Trust me, this is something we want to keep working on and having more and more of this. You will start seeing more of this content in the asset library.
Absolutely, and it, as we were talking about it earlier, it gives to that really from a user perspective, an end user taking the course. This is something that everyone is, whether they're a frontline worker, whether there's someone that's on a manufacturing floor or something, they're going to have to be interacting with technology, whether like he showed you here, where it's going through it on their phone or on their computer. This is you're building a familiarity with your content here and how they're used to navigating it. I know from my previous experiences, it never fails. You think you've designed the perfect course, but the navigation that seems familiar to you is not familiar to somebody else that isn't an L&D. And I think what Alan's demonstrated here too is this is a great way to bridge that gap of you're still getting your training content out there, but it's in a familiar navigational format that your users they do without even thinking about it in their everyday life. So
yes, I forgot to mention that part, that since these vertical templates work great on devices, because we spend a lot of time on our device, on phone devices, on tablets. So the fact that you can carry your own courses inside your phone with the right format, because you don't have to turn it and then just have to take your test using like this landscape mode. This is just the regular scroller. You can scroll down, scroll up, and you will see all of your elements. It's so easy. Just click or tap on the interactions, and you still get all of your statements, XAPI statements, and also your score. You'll get the right or the proper score in this. And also, I want to highlight something else. I was talking about this how easy is for us as developers now with a tool like LECTORA to have these new sort of templates, thinking about the new type of learning tools or learning experiences for the user. You can start your project off using this template, and you can have whatever requirement your customer have, you can put it inside a mobile experience with a vertical template. Yeah, so I want to say.
That was great. Let's see. Susan wrote a quick question. Can you prevent the user from scrolling onto the page until after an activity, say click to reveal, has been completed?
You can, but this is something I was discussing with Troy the other day. We didn't want to add extra JavaScript or extra coding to this. We wanted to have just a template. We wanted to do a template accessible for everyone, available for everyone. And in the case that you wanted to start adding extra programming or extra coding to it, they could, right? This is not a function that is already in LD, but it's in, you can work on it on, sorry, in LO, but it can something, you can do something or workarounds in LO, but in LD, you can have some workarounds. But of course, also you are familiar with your expert on JavaScript. You can also add your own custom code to this, and you can, prevent the user to go to the next. I mean, you can do it here. I mean, you can add extra actions to it. You can use hide and show action to prevent, but I don't recommend like much. You can do it because this is the way that's why we didn't use any extra code going into this, because we wanted to let the user have that decision, but it's something that you can use.
Yeah, real basic actions are, you have to.
Oh yeah,
the
it's totally
variables.
basic. Working variables, easy actions. As I mentioned before, we just work with 2 actions to make this scroll course. Scroll table work in LO, which is on show and go to, really go to it, but using the scroll part of it. Yeah, I know some legacy users will appreciate the fact that we're not using a lot of coding into it.
Let's see. We'll give it just another minute if anyone has any other last questions here.
While we're waiting for anyone to put their last questions in, I will remind everyone that if you're not a LECTORA user yet, you can go to our website and sign up for a free trial. That's 30 days of joy, the best thing you could do for yourself. Free trial of LECTORA or one of our other tools. And let's see, I think that we've answered all the questions.
Cool.
Awesome. Alan, any last things you want to part with us on?
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, as I just mentioned, this something I'm really excited. I was really excited to show you guys. I know we don't have like. I mean, I love when I get this sort of projects that make me think, okay, how can we make this easier for the user, right? So it was a project like took a little bit of extra time, but in the end, it was worth it because now it will be easier for me, even for me that I work with templates every day. It will be easier for me to create a new course started from scratch, but using these templates. So this was something I wanted to highlight as well. How easy it will be for you to start working on your projects. Thank you for joining today.
Yeah, absolutely. And to piggyback off that, and then to give Alan some kudos as well. Yeah, starting off of this, it was definitely I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if this is work, but the simplicity that I would say that's demonstrated here with, like he said, you've got 2 basic actions and everything here. There's no custom coding or CSS or JavaScript. It's all in-house. It's, you're changing your project size or your stage size a little.
Yeah.
And from there, it's really plug and play. So great work, Alan. It looks fantastic.